You're told to flip a switch that will hurt a stranger. Your thumb moves before you've decided to. You'd stop long before the end. Everyone says that. 2/3 of people didn't. It's 1961. You answered a newspaper ad for a study on memory over at Yale. The memory test was a cover story. The real question was you. How far you'd go, because a calm man in a coat kept telling you to. He built it the same year a man called Adolf Eichmann sat on trial in Jerusalem for organizing the Nazi death camps. Eichmann's defense was simple. He said he was only following orders. A clerk at a desk, moving papers. Milgram wanted to know if that could really be enough, so he built a machine to find out. You got there the ordinary way. A flyer, $4.50, one free evening. Inside, the two of you drew slips for roles. You got teacher, the other man got learner. The draw was fixed. Both slips said teacher. The other man was an actor, and you were the only real subject in the building. They walked him next door, taped an electrode to his arm, and he happened to mention a small heart condition. Nobody wrote it down. Your job sounded harmless. Read him word pairs. Every time he gets one wrong, move up one switch. 15 more volts. 30 switches in a row. 15 volts on the far left. 450 on the far right. The last two were painted red and just said XXX. Before you begin, the coat gives you a real one. 45 volts to your own wrist, so you know the machine isn't a bluff. It stings. Now you believe every switch after it. The start is easy. He misses a couple. You buzz him. 45 volts, 60 volts. He barely reacts. But the misses pile up and the number keeps climbing. At 120 volts, his voice comes through the wall. It hurts, he says. At 150, he wants out. That's all, he says. Get me out. I told you about my heart. You turn to the man in the coat. He doesn't look up from his clipboard. He just says, please continue. And here's the strange part. He's got nothing over you. No fine, no punishment. Nobody in that room can actually make you do a thing, and the $4.50 was already yours. They told you that at the door. Keep it, walk out, no penalty. You stayed anyway. 200 volts, 240. The sounds through the wall get shorter. You ask if somebody should go check on him. At 270, it isn't words anymore, just a sound you'll think about later. At 330, nothing at all. You call his name through the wall. Nothing comes back. The coat gives you the next line. Flat, almost bored. The experiment requires that you continue. 300 volts. He pounds on the wall, and after that, he stops answering at all. No wrong answer ever comes. So you sit there wondering whether silence counts as wrong. You ask one more time. The coat already has a third line ready. It is absolutely essential that you continue. And most people did. They flipped the switch on a man gone quiet for a memory test he'd stopped taking. And nobody did it calmly. Milgram filmed the whole thing. People sweated through their shirts, laughed in the wrong places, begged the coat to go check on the man, and kept flipping switches while they did it. One man dug his fingernails into his own arm. Another got a fit of the giggles he couldn't stop. Neither of them stood up. If you still hesitate, the coat has one last line. You have no other choice. You must go on. And that one's a flat lie. The door was never locked. In the very first run, 65 out of 100 people went all the way to the end. 450 volts. The red switch? Before he ran it, Milgram asked a room of psychiatrists how many people would get that far. Their guess was about 1 in 100. They were off by 64, and it wasn't a one-off. Milgram and the people who copied him ran this on more than 1,000 volunteers. He ran it on women too. The number barely moved. And these weren't monsters. They were teachers and salesmen from around New Haven. The sort of people who'd swear on their life they'd never do it, which left Milgram with the real question. Not how many, what turns it off. So he ran the machine 24 different ways, changing one thing at a time. First he moved the man closer. In the version you just sat through, he's a voice through a wall. You never once see his face. Put him in the same room, a few feet away, where you have to watch him take it. And obedience falls to 40%. Make you hold his hand down onto the metal plate yourself to deliver it, and it drops to 30. The closer he gets, the more of you refuses. A wall did most of the work. Then he tried the opposite. He kept the man behind the wall and changed you. Now, someone else works the switches. You only read the words out loud. 92% went to the end. Almost nobody stops the machine when the hand on the lever isn't theirs. Distance to the victim mattered. Distance to the coat mattered more. Send him out of the room and give the orders by telephone. And obedience falls to 1 in 5. And some of them cheated. Down the phone, they said they were turning it up and pressed the lowest switch instead. With no one standing over them, they found their nerve. But one thing broke it almost completely. Put 2 other teachers in the room and have them refuse and walk out first. After that, hardly anyone keeps going. Obedience drops to 1 in 10. One person standing up hands everyone else permission to do the same. So what decides whether you flip that last switch isn't how kind you are. It's whether anyone else in the room stands up first. In the real thing, no one did. There was only you, a voice through a wall, and a calm man saying, "Go on." And don't tell yourself this was a trick that only works in a lab. 5 years later, a doctor phoned a hospital ward with an order for a nurse he had never met. Give a patient double the safe dose of a drug. 21 of the 22 nurses started to pour it. Same machine, no volts, just a voice with a title. And in 2009, a psychologist ran Milgram again, safely, stopping at the switch most people never come back from. 70% walked straight up to it. It's what Hannah Arendt meant, watching Eichmann in his glass box. The evil that does the real damage isn't monstrous, it's obedient. A clerk doing his job. But here's the part your textbook leaves out. Years later, a writer sat down with Milgram's own tapes in the Yale archive. The real recordings, not the tidy summary. The 4 calm lines weren't so calm. On the tapes, the coat argues, pushes, invents new orders, far past the script, to keep people at the switch. And plenty of the subjects said afterward that somewhere in it, they'd quietly stopped believing the man behind the wall was really being hurt. And the famous 65% is 1 room out of 24. Across all of them, the number swung from 90% down to 10. None of that lets you off. It just means the number was never fixed. Change the room, change the person, and it moves every time. When it was over, the learner walked in, alive and smiling, and shook your hand. He'd never felt a thing. You'd walk out shaking. Plenty of them did, and plenty of people were furious he'd done it at all. Put ordinary volunteers through that, no warning, for a study. It's the reason no university can run it that way now. The rules that would protect you were written, in part, because of this room. But here's the part that sits worst. A year on, Milgram wrote to the subjects and asked if they were sorry they came. 84% said they were glad they did. You didn't know any of that while it was happening. You flipped every switch anyway. And the next week, the same ad ran again in the paper, looking for the next teacher.